Hello, church. We're going full steam into spring, and it's not going to be long, and we're going to find ourselves in the middle of summer, but let's not go too fast. I'd say that spring is a blessing from God that, well, it delivers us out of what is sometimes a very tough winter season, and so I always feel blessed when spring comes. Oh, speaking of blessings, we're going to start a blessing series this Sunday. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to do it by asking the greatest preacher that ever was on this earth to be able to share with us out of the greatest sermon that was ever preached. That's the Sermon on the Mount, to deliver us 10 verses from what we call the Beatitudes. And Jesus is going to use phrases like, blessed are the poor in spirit, or blessed are the peacemakers, and we list those things as the Beatitudes. Would it surprise you to know that that's not actually a biblical word? It's a Latin word for blessed, and we might say it this way. Jesus is suggesting that the blessed life we hear about in many of our churches is different than the blessing that we've been told about. And Jesus is suggesting that we can receive blessedness, God's blessing, as a result of living in harmony with the values and the ethics of God's kingdom. Well now, maybe one of the reasons we don't have more blessings in our lives is because we haven't recognized what God has already done. And in Jesus' great Sermon on the Mount, He presents us with the Beatitudes. In other words, He's preaching about our approval with God. And we might say it this way: you can know that God has your back all the time and is resident inside of you always. And perhaps blessedness comes from being comfortable with what God has been doing all along, right? Inside of us. So we're going to find out today that the word blessed means in these verses, it comes from a Greek word called Makarios, which is incidentally where the Makarios Islands were named after. And it meant that it was a blessed island, totally self-sustaining. Wow. And once you see that, you can't unsee it. You know, the crazy thing is bad things can happen all around me, and too often they happen to me. But when you know that God has had your back, has your back, and will have your back, and that you live under the wing of a Makarios God, it can change everything. Now, we're going to have a lot of fun with this series. So buckle up your seatbelts, and we're going to go for a wonderful ride. I look forward to seeing you this Sunday.